Husker Nation, I've got trivia for you. How many Nebraska coaches are in the College Football Hall of Fame?
You are Locked On Huskers, your daily podcast on the Nebraska Cornhuskers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Husker Nation, it's Derrick, Pearson, GP, and I'm smiling ear to ear. I've spent time in the Huskers football playbook, the record books, and it's mind-blowing. Thank you for allowing Locked On Huskers, Locked On Go Big Red, be your first listen, first watch of the day. Should be your first share. And if you would, please take a moment, subscribe, share this information, share the content, let it be known. We want to thank the folks from Locked On Sports for allowing us to do this, bring this content to you. We also want to thank the folks from BetOnline. Again, the odds, the best props. Look, it's an interesting week. It's that time where now all the games matter. Bowl games are in play. You got to get the wins. Wisconsin needs one more win. They've got a consecutive bowl streak. It's that time, and the Huskers will go into Memorial Stadium as a 13-point underdog to the Badgers as they come in on Senior Day here at Memorial Stadium. But I wanted to spend time today and go through some interesting numbers and facts within the Nebraska football record book. And each week in Concepts, you get media notes from the schools of note. So this week you get Nebraska's and you get Wisconsin's. And as you go through it, and there's a lot of details, there's a lot of minutia, but in the end, it's just a ton of information. Just knowing that Wisconsin comes in on an 8-game win streak against Nebraska. That has to stop. That was a part of the conversation with Mickey Joseph and his players this week, that this streak needs to be stopped. This needs to, in order to change the culture, this is unacceptable. But along those numbers, right, that Nebraska's time in the Big Ten is far more interesting than I expected. And Nebraska does, and shout out to Nebraska's media folks and the information they put out each week, whether it's game to game, practice to practice, but they do a really good job. But here at Nebraska, this is the 133rd season of collegiate football. Now, it has not always been the NCAA. It has not always been whether it was the Big 12 or the Big 8 or the Big 10. But 133rd season, they've played to date 1,367 games. 13-67. Couple of things. Of those 1,367 games, Nebraska has won 911. That's 8th all-time of every school in the history of this country who plays football at this level. Pretty impressive. Of those 133 seasons, 11 undefeated seasons. 11 undefeated seasons. Perfect seasons. Nine perfect seasons. So no ties. All wins, no ties. 9 seasons out of 133. Now, for Nebraska fans, especially fans who've been around long enough to remember the glory days and the streaks that were put together through Coach Bob Devaney and through Coach Tom Osborne, and then the lack of recent history. But the numbers that were put together in that stretch are pretty remarkable. Nebraska is 6th of all teams in bowl appearances. But a curious, interesting number. Of the 133 seasons that Nebraska has played, Nebraska has only made bowl appearances in 53 of the 133. It doesn't seem like a lot for a blue blood program. I'm actually surprised. Maybe Nebraska fans aren't surprised by that. Maybe football fans aren't surprised by that. But I'm surprised by that number. I would have thought that number would have been more in the 60-70% range. And yes, they're on a streak of not having gone to bowl games in a while, but slightly surprised by that. I opened the show, this podcast, with a trivia question. how many coaches, how many Nebraska coaches, former Nebraska coaches, are in the College Football Hall of Fame? And most football fans, even high-level football fans, would rattle off, oh, well, it's Bob Devaney and Coach Tom Osborne. Those are Coach Devaney and Coach Osborne. Those are the two. Like, those are the two. But what if I said you're wrong? There's more than two. Does the name Eddie Robbie Robinson ring a bell, who coached Nebraska when, before they were the Cornhuskers, they were the Nebraska Bug Eaters? And he coached them for 2 years. They won the Western Conference, finished first with a 5-0 record. Coached 2 years. Coached at Brown, coached other places, but he's a former Nebraska coach in the College Football Hall of Fame. That's not all. Fielding Yost, also former Nebraska head football coach, who's in the College Football Hall of Fame. That's not it either. Dana Bible, former Huskers head football coach, is also in the College Football Hall of Fame. And then there's one more. Biff Jones. Listen, if your head coach's name is Biff, he's got to be in the Hall of Fame. Like, he should be in the Hall of Fame. As a matter of fact, he should win national championships. Biff Jones is the 6th Nebraska former coach who made it into the College Football Hall of Fame. Of course, Osborne and his almost 84% career winning percentage is the 4th highest in history. 13 Nebraska coaches have won a conference championship at the school, and Devaney and Osborne, of course, combined for 5 national championships. It's fantastic. Like, I just look, the fact that the Bug Eaters coach is in the College Football Hall of Fame. Hopefully, he went in as a Bug Eater. Like, I don't care where else you go. I don't care what other accolades you have. But if you coach the Nebraska Bug Eaters and they put you in the Hall of Fame, you should go in as a Bug Eater. Like that. But I guess that officially means that the Nebraska Bug Eaters are in the College Football Hall of Fame. So I didn't know that, and job well done. Job well done. We'll go deeper into the Nebraska record book, because there are some numbers that are just fascinating as you get into them. We'll dive into those numbers going forward here on Locked On Huskers, Locked On Go Big Red on the Locked On Sports. Welcome back, Derrick Pearson, DP, 93.7 The Ticket, Lincoln, America, Locked On Huskers, Locked On Go Big Red on the Locked On Sports Network. And again, as we take you through some of the historical numbers, the great Nebraska football facts that are provided to us, we wanted to share them and highlight and focus on some of the interesting numbers and the different aspects. Again, thank the folks from BetOnline for providing just the news. It's where the game begins, because they set up each and every game in a way that the fans can kind of project what should happen, what might happen, and then have a place to play some enjoyment if that's your thing. So thanks to the folks from BetOnline. Again, subscribe, share this content, share this information with your friends. Let's go back into we found out that that certain coaches, even if they coach in Nebraska isn't listed, but they are referenced. But Nebraska, 6 former coaches are in the Hall of Fame. Again, an all-time record for Nebraska in those 1,367 games, 9-11, 4-16, and 40. But I was kind of stunned by this next fact. All-time bowl record. And this is a blue blood program that dominated college football for a long time, for an extended era. And if I asked you, what was Nebraska, how were they doing in bowl games? Nebraska's all-time bowl record is 26-27. It's a losing record in bowl games. Now, we'd rather go to the bowl games and lose than not go to bowl games. Let's get back to the bowl games. That's what every Husker fan wants. That's what Go Big Red Nation wants, is to be back in bowl games. And it won't happen this season, which will lead to a lot of the changes and off-season conversation that we have. We don't know the future of the program, but we can speak to facts. And that's what this is, that in the 133 seasons, Nebraska has won 46 conference championships. Look, when you talk about blue blood, when you talk about where you had dynasties, in the 133 seasons of existence, 46 of them ended in a conference championship. And again, to go with 9 perfect seasons and 11 undefeated seasons, and then twice within that history, twice, Nebraska won back-to-back national championships. Remarkable numbers, incredible numbers along the way. Nebraska is elite at home. Elite. 555 wins against 169 losses. That is dominant. But they were also in the building that they currently play in, 428 and 146. That's pretty incredible. Nebraska's been exceptional in August, 14-2 in history, 14-2. And we know where the bulk of those 14 were. We know where the 2 are. That's a constant. But Nebraska always, I didn't know that they had played in February. But Nebraska played a game in February, and they're 1-0 in that time. Nebraska is 8-7 in overtime all time. That number was better before the recent era. But 8-7 in overtime. They're 103 and 48 at night. So there's some success there. There's some reason to schedule this along the way. But here's an interesting number. They're 1-0 in February, but this program is 14-21 in January. That's a bit mind-blowing to me. 14-21 in January. That's where the big bowl games are. No idea. No clue. Interesting numbers as well. Nebraska's time in the Big Ten Conference, which spurs several different conversations. There's a bulk of the fan base that just are dissatisfied with being in the Big Ten. They hate being in the Big Ten. They don't like the business that's being done in the Big Ten. But here's a big part of why. Nebraska's all-time record in the Big Ten is 126, 123, and 9. I'll repeat that. It's 126, 123, and 9. Now, Nebraska will finish the season, no matter what, with a winning record in the Big Ten Conference. But next year, those numbers stare you dead square in the eye. You have to look in the mirror and understand what's happening in the Big Ten Conference for Nebraska and why there has to be a change of direction and attitude when it comes to Big Ten football. There's a better understanding of what Big Ten football is. Becky Joseph talked this week about, having a better understanding of what Big Ten football is. And so now they know. They know. And the numbers tell you a lot. Again, those numbers are against ranked teams. Ready for this one? Again, another one that shocked me. Again, a blue blood program. Nebraska is 105 and 143 against ranked teams. What? What? Are you kidding me? On the road against ranked teams. You ready for this one? This one's mind-blowing. 28 and 63 against ranked teams. And then on neutral sites, bowl games included, 26 and 27. Not exactly the numbers we expected, but here's a number that makes Husker fans smile. As the number one team against ranked teams, 46-7-1. Dominant when they were exceptional. Some cute numbers because they're cute. Quite frankly, there's no other way to describe them. Nebraska has a consecutive streak of scoring at least a point in 337 games. Oh, you're not shut out. Yeah, at least you're not shut out, man. You didn't fail at scoring points. Consecutive home games with scoring a point, 357. So of this streak of 388 at home, 357 of them they scored a point, and it's on a streak. So at the beginning of games at Memorial wasn't as much fun because they had some games where they didn't score points. They didn't score points, but of the 388, the record in the sellout streak at home. This is one to circle and be proud of, but you did have to look at it again closely. 317 and 71 during the sellout streak. 317 and 71. I have to be the guy to ask what the record was before recent history. I would imagine those numbers were pretty remarkable. And during the sellout streak, 388 games, they played 84 games against ranked opponents. They were 47 and 37 in those games. Again, remarkable stuff. You pay attention to it. We'll go to break. When we come back, we'll close it out with this. Amongst the history of this program, it has put some individuals in high elite space. We'll go through some of those numbers of the elite players of this football program when we come back to Locked On Huskers. Welcome back. Final segment of Locked On Huskers, Locked On Go Big Red on the Locked On Sports Network. And again, thanking the folks from BetOnline for what they do each and every single day. Again, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me here on Locked On Huskers. And in the Nebraska football facts and the numbers that jump out, a part of being identified as a blue blood program, even still to this day, even with recent history not being ideal for Husker fans or the people within the program, that they're sixth in the in bowl appearances all time, number 6 all time. And because of that, there have been some individuals who have been put in some elite categories, some elite space when it comes to the record books. The College Football Hall of Fame has 20 Nebraska Cornhuskers in it. 20. As I said earlier, they had 6 coaches. That's a number that I would have wagered on BetOnline and been wrong. Like, I just wouldn't have gotten the 6. There's just no way. 110 first-team All-Americans. 110. 54 unanimous first-team All-Americans. Those are some hardy numbers. Spectacular numbers. 108 academic All-Americans, and Nebraska takes great pride in its academic All-Americans. As a matter of fact, it's on the building there in Memorial Stadium about the academic All-Americans. 9 top 10 award winners, 3 Heisman Trophy winners, of course. And folks will say that number should be higher because how can you have a Heisman Trophy award without having Tommy Frazier as an award winner, which often leads to debate. In one of these podcasts, I'll go through and we'll rank Nebraska's quarterbacks because with Eric Crouch winning the Heisman, I'm not sure he's the number 1 quarterback all time amongst Nebraska fans. Like I think just across the board, that's Tommy Frazier. It's not Scott Frost. It's not Steve Taylor. It's not Turner Gill. Most of them will tell you. But we'll go through one of these podcasts. We'll go through and do. And of course, you guys can put your comments down at the bottom about who you think that is. 3 Walter Camp Award winners, 1 Maxwell Trophy winner, 9 Outland Trophy winners, which is the identity of this program, this football program. The pipeline is how people identify it. As much as and as many runners, great running backs have come through the University of Nebraska. It is, in fact, the offensive linemen and those 9 Outland Award winners tell you everything. 5 Lombardi Trophy winners, 1 Butkus winner, 1 Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award winner, 1 Remington Award winner, and that tells you everything. And that the award is named after a Nebraska Cornhusker. So there's that. 1 Nagurski and 1 Bednarik Award. There are 25 retired jerseys. That is another podcast that we need to have, is to go through the 25 retired jerseys for the University of Nebraska, and then 521 first-team all-conference selections in their history. Those are some remarkable numbers for the University of Nebraska football program. I hope that you enjoyed going through some of these numbers. Leave your comments below in the comment section. Greatly appreciate it. We will do this again tomorrow. Another episode, another podcast episode of Locked On Huskers, Locked On Go Big Red, here on the Locked On Sports Network. We finish, as we do all of these podcasts, with the 3 words that resonate so deeply in and around Husker Nation: Go Big Red.